Hello, and welcome to episode 127 of the Wrasslecast. I'm your host again this week in the big Charente. I'm joined by the sensational Dee Joni.
Hey, friends.
Hey, Dee, how you doing?
Nah, I'm good.
That's good. Are you all ready to be strapped in
Wait a minute. What are we talking about?
for the ultimate thrill ride?
Oh, it was sounding very 50 Shades of Grey. I wasn't.
I was like, well, it's kind of early for the Amazon read.
Now that would be a different type of. I would say tied up if that was the case.
Oh, it was
Adam
very
and
Adam and
Toys.
Eve.
Wow.
Yes. Very bad.
Oh, toy. And that other voice that you heard is none other than the chairman, the CEO, the boss himself, Mr. Classic Material.
Yes. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Dee. Glad to be back here on the Wrasslecast. On the thing I made, I'm just so proud that we've gotten this far to the point where we're covering our, was it fifth or sixth Hall of Fame this episode, and that we're coming up on another fantastic WrestleMania season, and just glad to be here to chop it up with my Wrasslecast co-hosts, my friends and family here. Shout out to all y'all listening.
As always, the WrestleCast can be found on www.cspn.us. You can also find us on our Tumblr page at thewrestlecast.tumblr.com. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and any app that downloads podcasts. Just do a search for the WrestleCast or CSPN. So we'll get into some quick news as WWE has been snooping around the ROH chicken coop. It looks like that they want to try to acquire ROH in some shape, form, or fashion, whether it's the company as a whole or the tape library. So there has been a lot of speculation going around the wrestling business the last week to 10 days since this news has come about, that they've been actually in talks since the beginning of the year. If you remember, WWE Network put out a poll asking their subscribers what other kind of content they would like to see put up on the network. ROH was one of the choices. And of course, it got a lot of the votes. So it looks like they're trying to make that happen. So, Classic, since you're a businessman, a CEO, what do you think the end game here is for Vince McMahon? Is he trying to just put him out of business? Is the tape library worth that much to him that he would pay the millions to vet him down just to have that library and things that he can flip it and make more if it's in his possession?
I think so, and I'm not saying that the actual promotion is worth it to him, or at least for him to try to either take out a business or absorb. But the tape library has more value, particularly because a lot of current stars that are at the top of the WWE have significant runs at Ring of Honor. You're looking at Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen. You're looking at Sami Zayn. You're looking at I'm trying to remember if who else was on there, but there's quite a few.
AJ Styles, CM Punk.
Yes, and pretty much they can do best ofs. They don't even have to get the entire tape or use the entire tape library, just their stars. But the fact that they can, if they get that and they get talents that are currently at the top at ROH to come over eventually, because that's kind of everyone's dream, is to be in the WWE. That's like the big leagues. They don't have to worry about absorbing ROH as a company. You don't have to worry about knocking them out as competition. All they got to worry about is owning that content and being able to basically capitalize off of it. And really, aside from their house shows and their revenue streams from merchandise, WWE Network seems to still be lucrative to them. That $9.99, that subscriber base a month, and for them to be able to grow that with more content just makes this a win-win situation on their part.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting business moves by the WWE. So we'll see where that goes. I'm pretty sure after Mania, Vince will get his attention back onto that, and we'll probably hear something sooner than later. And we're going to go to our next little bit of news as Mauro Ranallo has been battling with his illness as he missed his third SmackDown in a row this week. So, as a lot of people know, Mauro has been very open with his depression, and seems like right now he's going through a rather tough time. Maybe the grind of the schedule is starting to get to him. It's no breaks when you do WWE. Boxing, you have, a major fight here or there in a cluster, and then you have, 6 to 8 weeks in between where you can kind of recharge yourself and get back in the mode. But the WWE schedule is not like that. So hopefully he can get himself together and take all the time he needs, and WWE stands behind him. So
yeah, WWE is a corporation now, and they really need to, kind of be able to stand behind someone, a staff member that's going through an illness, a disability, which depression is, sort of linked to as both and defined as both. So it makes what Mauro's going through. He's protected in that way, whereas like in the old days, it would have been like, well, just suck it up and come in to work. And there's a lot of old school or old fashioned guys in the back that are probably saying that or thinking that, but all the same, he gets his due to be able to basically live and get supported through that. And so we're thinking nothing but the best for Mauro. And even 3 weeks away, he's still a better commentator than half the guys they got on TV right now. So I'll take him over someone like JBL any day.
no doubt. So get well to Mauro Ranallo. So now we're going to fall into it. Our reviews for the week, go home week for WrestleMania, as everybody has got their eyes focused on Orlando. And if any of the listeners to the Wrasslecast are down in Orlando and headed to Mania, like our man Quantum are, have a good time, represent the Wrasslecast, and hopefully it's worth it. And you guys don't leave early before the main event is over. Because I heard a lot of people, because they think it's going to be a short main event, to try to beat the traffic. So hopefully everybody stays to the end.
You're in Orlando. What traffic are you trying to beat? If you're trying to fly out, I mean, and if
it's 90,000 people in there.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're going to be at Raw the next night, and even who's going to go to WrestleMania and go to work on Monday? I don't know who this person is, but I'm telling you, your job there, you're already down there for the weekend. Call in Monday, take it off if you haven't already. Call in sick, call in dead, and really live it up. Enjoy yourself. That's my advice. Don't beat traffic. What traffic? I'd sleep in the arena.
So this week's Monday Night Raw comes to us from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We start off with the regular Raw intro, and then all of a sudden we get some glitches, and it ends up feeding into a video that looks like it's tied into The Undertaker. So the show officially starts off with Bayley. She comes out. She cuts her in-ring promo. Then Charlotte comes out. She tells Bayley that Sasha has used her to get back into the women's title picture. That makes Sasha come out. Sasha comes out, and she tells Sasha that her and Bayley have is true. Charlotte tells Sasha, tells Charlotte that what her and Bayley have is true friendship, and they have an understanding that business is business. Sasha reminds everybody that she got in the match because she beat Bayley, and then Sasha says that she's going to beat Bayley at Mania too. That causes Nia Jax to come out. Nia says that these girls are like high school and that she's going to give the title a permanent home. Charlotte says it's Sasha's fault that Nia is even in the match because Sasha didn't have to care about Bayley anymore. Sasha punches Charlotte, and a big brawl breaks out before we go to commercial break. And we come back, and we have a tag team match that's already started between Nia and Charlotte versus Bayley and Sasha Banks. Bayley gets saved from the figure eight by Sasha. She gets to her feet, blocks a big boot by Charlotte, then hits Charlotte with the Bayley to belly to get the win. After the match, Nia gives Bayley and Sasha a double clothesline from behind. She follows Sasha in a Samoan drop to Bayley. Then Nia looks around and splashes Charlotte and picks up the title and poses. Thoughts? Concerns?
I'm sure Oh, wait, who's the commentator on Raw? Is it still Cole?
Yep,
Yeah,
Cole,
Michael
Corey,
Cole.
and
I'm
Byron.
sure Mago was all like, if this happens on Sunday, we could be seeing a new women's champion. It's typical. And someone said something about creating separation. I can't stand the commentators, but this is a great lead into the women's match at WrestleMania. So I am excited because now it's very unclear who's going to win this fatal four way.
Didi.
um, it's, sure.
Did you,
Here's the
do you,
thing.
do
Here's the thing. When Sasha says, "And I'm gonna beat Bailey," I don't need Bailey like, yes. What? You think you're gonna beat me? It's like, girl.
And it's an elimination match, so she could still beat Bailey, but not win the title.
That's true.
Yeah, so she could still live by her word. And the thing about the elimination match is,
Now you're
even
gonna win.
yeah, if Nia wins it all, which she looks strong coming out at the end, but depending on who eliminates who, that sets up the feuds after WrestleMania. So
That's true.
Bailey and Sasha could be busy with each other, talk about, well, you eliminated me. Well, you shouldn't have, whatever. And and then Charlotte might get the roll up after when Sasha's celebrating, and then Nia and Charlotte have a feud after that, you know, or whoever comes off the NXT and gets called up, to go up against Nia Jax. I really hope that maybe Tamina gets a push, and then we could see a Nia Jax versus Tamina type of deal where the two of them
Yes,
go at it.
Pacific Islanders.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
no? Well, for one, it would happen after they did the draft because Tamina is on SmackDown and she is back. By the way, she is back wrestling from her knee injury.
I
But
mean,
they
but
should
is she
like
on SmackDown? Really?
that she's not on SmackDown on TV, but she is performing at the house shows.
Oh, so she's like, I thought she was a Raw wrestler
No,
person.
no, she's on
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
All right, yeah,
Yeah,
move,
Yeah,
they,
move
they,
her to
they
Raw.
probably separated the Islanders,
Move her
just
to
they
like they
should
Raw.
get her
separated the
together.
Black
Start the
Girls.
stable, and just run roughshod over
Hmm.
everybody.
There you go.
Yeah,
It'll
and
be like the female version. It'd be awesome.
yeah,
Just wreak havoc over everybody.
Simone Bays, I would be up there. I'd be like Dee. I'd just be like, I'd join the coalition. I'd be joining the coalition. I'd be like, you know what? Yes, and it'd just be every Monday night. I got split my proclivities between two nights. That's not cool, man.
Yes, proclivities. Yes.
SAT words. That's why he's the chairman.
That's why
Yes.
can't be splitting them.
So we get a recap from 2 weeks ago of the angle between Triple H and Seth, building up to see if Seth is going to sign the contract for WrestleMania later on tonight. Then we get a replay of Mick Foley getting fired, followed by Sami Zayn announcing his entry into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. But Sammy's interrupted by Steph, who says that he can't declare himself into any matches and that he must earn his way into the Battle Royal. So she makes a no disqualification match between Sami Zayn and I'll give you a wild guess. Kevin
What?
Owens.
Oh, I was about to guess.
I was about to say the
Doink.
chicken.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the chicken because Peter always fights the chicken, and that's like Peter the chicken. That's Sami Zayn.
Steph states that if Sami Zayn wins, he's in the Battle Royal, and if he loses, he's fired.
Does she
Time.
do that more intensely than her dad?
Since he tries to get to that level, I think she still thinks she has a ways to go, but yeah.
She puts more umph into it than Vince does. Vince is natural. You're fired. But Stephanie, she just really tries really hard, and I think that comes off more. It comes off more effectively. And plus, her face scrunches up, and so she looks like Vince a little bit.
Yeah, she gets that snarl going.
Yes. Stephanie is the stuff of nightmares. Because she's beautiful, but at the same time, you're like, but that's Vince. Vince made that. Ugh. Yeah.
Time for the purple ropes as we get and Noam Dar. Noam, Austin Aries hits the ring for 5-arm. Then he looks at Neville on the commentary, and then he makes Noam Dar tap to the last chancery. That was a good little match. I don't like that they have Noam Dar being the jobber. I really like Noam Dar and Alicia Fox. I think that they could be like a top act.
I like half that statement that you just made, and that's really all I care about. And by the way, you know what could have happened but didn't? Alicia tried to distract Austin Aries from the floor, and Dar tried to have a 2 count roll up, but then Aries catches Dar with the elbow and wins with the last chancery. So there was an attempt at a distraction finish, but because I am the chairman of the rules, I'm counting that as a distraction finish. Thank you very much.
I heard you.
Chairman knows.
Chairman rules. And plus it's Alicia Fox, so
No, it's Alicia Fox. That's how you have to say it.
Fox. Okay. Wait, do I have to say that on purpose?
Probably.
So CrossFit Jesus himself comes down to the ring to sign the agreement with Triple H.
Oh, wait, that hold
Triple H or Rollins.
Isn't the hold harmless agreement? Because they've been saying it all night.
Yes.
I'm sure little Jenny was like, "Mom, what's a hold harmless agreement?" What the hell is that? I don't know. Is that the same as like what we had to sign for Daddy when he went on life support? Like, no, that's a DNR. Don't worry about it. Eat your bootios and shut up, little Jenny. So shout out to legal documents.
Hunter explains to Seth.
Yes.
The vitamins and prayers. He's got to get them in.
Yes, that's right.
So Triple H explains to Seth what he's waiving by signing this document. Then they have a big promo. And, for Buzzman, Triple H, tells him that he's going to beat him and break him and beat him over the head with his leg and rip it off and do all these gory things. And then Seth retorts back and says that, if he does get into, since he's going to be in this match, he's going to have to do all those things because he's going to have to kill him to stop him because he's looking to find his old Seth Rollins back. So both men sign a contract. They both stand up. Then Hunter kicks the table into Seth's bad knee, and he attacks Seth. Seth eventually reverses, the momentum. He hits an enziguri. They tumble back and forth for a little bit. Looks like Seth is going to go for a pedigree. Doesn't work. Then it looks like Hunter's going to go for the pedigree, but Seth reverses it, and he backdrops Hunter over the top rope. Triple H goes to get back in the ring. Seth hits him with the crutch a couple of times, and then Hunter retreats back up the ramp, and Seth Rollins is standing triumphant, and he points at the WrestleMania sign. So, Triple H and Seth Rollins, 2 years in the making, WrestleMania.
We should
be fun.
We should have made a point at the WrestleMania sign drinking game for the go home shows.
Oh, that would have been
we-
smart. We'd have been dead, but that is
over.
Yeah, next year that'll be just make sure you eat lots of food, but beforehand.
I know we plan on doing the whole who you got thing some other time, but if Triple H wins, do you think he's gonna bring out Donald Trump?
Hell no.
No.
You're gonna say the sledgehammer.
No. I mean,
Donald Trump.
it was very Make America Great Again. All that shit he was popping off. So I was just like, oh.
The sledgehammer.
Oh yeah.
Man, just bring him with him. Like, that's what we do.
Donald Trump like emblazoned down the handle, like how.
Oh, like hot sauce.
Yes, it'll be named a Donald or something. Like I'm gonna hit you with the Donald.
Because here's the thing about y'all's president. It's not like he would be like, "Oh no, I'm the president. I can't go to WrestleMania." Like
he won't go to the Nationals game and throw out the first pitch, but he will go to WrestleMania because he's in the freaking Hall of Fame.
He'll go to WrestleMania.
Yeah, he'll go to Mania.
Yeah, so I was just like,
because it's in Florida. Of course he'll go to Mania.
Yeah, they voted for him.
They voted for him. He hired
Florida.
Linda. Like, why wouldn't he go?
Yeah.
He's probably like partially invested.
He's probably gonna come out that roller coaster and shit with Secret Service, like all in the cars behind him and shit. And Flo Rida's gonna be like singing.
Welcome to my house.
Yeah.
That dude. I'm trying to figure out how much WWE pays him because every song.
Oh God, WWE makes you hate music so much.
But
That
it's funny
green light,
because it's like without WWE, who was listening to Flo Rida shit? Like
did not.
that's a
Uh,
great deal for him.
50, 45 to like 52-year-old white ladies love Flow Rider.
Welcome to my house is what they probably play at the cookout.
And
Oh,
They
white
then
love
people call
Flow
it the
Rider.
barbecue.
yes, the barbecue.
The
Yes.
barbecue. Yeah.
So we get a video package of the Goldberg and Brock Lesnar from Survivor Series. Next, Dee Dee's Boo, The Big Show, and an over-the-top rope challenge. It
He
starts off
looking
with Big Show
fine.
and Jinder Mahal. Big Show eliminates Jinder Mahal. Then Bo Dallas comes out. Big Show eliminates Bo Dallas. Then both the Shining Stars come out. Big Show eliminates both the Shining Stars. Then a herd of guys run out, and they all eliminate the Big Show.
Oh,
An angry Big Show crawls back in, and he lays waste to everyone except for the Golden Truth. Then Braun Strowman comes out on the ramp, and he says if he wanted to, he could come down there and kick Big Show's ass. But he says since he does what he wants, he's not going to do it tonight. He's going to do it at Mania because he's going to be in the Battle Royal himself.
and then he pointed at the banner.
You know it.
Yes.
Then we get a recap of last week's events between the teams involved in the tag team three-way. Brothers promo on the match last week mocking Enzo and Cass. As a result of that match last week and all the fun play with the ladders, it has been announced that this will now be a three-way ladder match, if you guys did not get that news earlier this week. And also, Sheamus had to get 15 stitches over his eye as one of those lovely ladders caught him in the noggin last week.
Wow.
Yeah. So, again, what do my who criticize you watching wrestling say that it's fake, just retort back with, but the injuries are real. Pretty sum up, what a pro wrestler does.
It's real. It's real. Because you know how it's real? Because Chad Too Bad sent Bad News Allen to take out the Tex Ferguson's eye. And you think he doesn't know about that? And then he sent Classic Freddie Blassie with his filed down teeth to do out his other eye. You think he didn't know about that? And so I'm pulling for Gallows and Anderson just for that alone.
So we get a New Day on the steps of the library, the Philadelphia Library, and they do the Rocky bit where they all take off running up the stair, and Kofi take off, and Big E's eating his videos, taking his time. And then, of course, they do the thing where they transpose, and Big E is beat them to the top, and Kofi and Xavier are dumbfounded.
And so
Waste of a New Day promo.
The lesson here is big and booty O's wins the race.
We get Sheamus and Cesaro. They have a promo backstage, and they get attacked by the Good Brothers and are laid to waste.
That's right.
Time for the purple ropes again. We get Neville versus Jack Gallagher. Neville hits the superplex, then rolls right into the ring to Neville to get the win by submission. In this lovely quick match, there was a sighting by William III as Jack Gallagher did the seated senton with the umbrella, very Mary Poppins like, for his one big spot. Then after the match, we see a Neville promo with New Day as they tout Neville's wares and basically say that he's going to win at WrestleMania. Then Roman comes to the ring to cut a promo on The Undertaker. He tells Taker that the ring is his yard and that the arena is his house. Taker comes up on the screen. He's out in the cemetery digging a burial plot for Roman. He tells Roman, that he's making a special place for him in hell. The lights go off, the gong sounds, and Taker is in the ring. He tells Roman this Sunday that he's going to make him rest in peace. Dee Dee, I need you in for this.
How can I help you?
You see, it's like, yeah, Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I won the Royal Rumble in this building. He had that little smirk on his face, and then he was like, and then I went on to main event WrestleMania twice. You
Oh.
see it? You see that little cockiness? Did you see it? Just a glimpse. They need
It's
to do it.
nice.
They
Yeah,
need
they
to just let
should.
him go straight hashtag kill life.
The Rock shows up at every WrestleMania. He's had in the last like how many years now. You think he's gonna like come and run some kind of interference on behalf of his cousin, realizing that Undertaker just threatened his life, telling him he was gonna rest in peace?
That'd be funny. He's like, you gonna mess with us the boys.
You know, he's like,
Like Jimmy and Jay come out too, like fuck
yes,
you.
they're gonna Samoa
Tamina
me,
out there too, like all
and then
ass.
on his way out, he's gonna be like, go check out Baywatch and Fast and Furious this summer, and he lights like his name on fire and leaves, and everyone's still booing Roman.
Yeah, so this is going to be one of the more interesting matches at WrestleMania, just for the crowd reaction. Um, Roman is definitely going to get booed out of the building, and hopefully he soaks it in and plays to it and doesn't fight it. And they tell him don't fight it, and he wrestles a little nastier and a little dirtier than he normally does, and you never know, he may actually be gaining some cheers by the end of the match. So
What would he have to do to actually, if they're playing him like a baby face, what would he have to do to actually earn the crowd's respect, other than like take like 6 tombstone pile drivers in a row and still get up from each one of them? Like he'd have to do some superhuman shit, and it would be like so cartoony.
he doesn't. You know what he would have to do? Take off the chest protector
He does need to
and
take it off.
spice up his move set a little bit and get rid of the Superman punch and got like another finishing move.
The Superman
I
punch
think
is
that's
a setup. That should not be
yeah.
the finisher. That's
Yeah, I think that's what people don't like about Roman is that his finishing move is, ugh.
It's
And he
based on a
has this
movie that's several years old. Man of Steel was how long ago now?
right, and he has a big chest protector on, and he doesn't. It's like how can you really hurt him if you got all this armor on?
Yeah. It was funny when he fought Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania a couple of years back, and Brock took that damn thing off when he was suplexing the shit out of him. He's like, take
Yeah,
that stupid thing off too. It's like you get in a fight with somebody,
right.
and take that hat off your head too, so I could beat you. So I could beat you down, and you could be dignified as I do it. Look ridiculous. So yeah.
We move
So
on to
Team Undertaker.
Team Undertaker for you.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
know we're not doing who you got, but yeah, I'm pulling Undertaker.
Moving on to Enzo and Cass versus the Good Brothers. Cesaro and Sheamus attack the Good Brothers from behind with the ladder as they make their entrance. They run down and try to attack Enzo and Cass, which leads to Enzo and Cass clearing the ring, but getting attacked by the Good Brothers by the ladder and getting laid out. Mm-hmm. They really wiped out Enzo with the ladder. He looked like he was really in need of medical attention there.
Enzo was just a little. I swear he was not that small when he first got here. Why does he seem so like delicate now?
Wrestling against the Vaudevillains and Tyler Breeze and them when he first got there. Now he's wrestling against Cesaro and Sheamus and
Yeah.
and Gallows, and them boys is big.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Maybe he needs to go to 205 Live.
He would be the man on 205 Live. Eventually, he might get there.
I think he just needs to go because, like, he can be Cass's hype man while they're on Raw, and then he can just go to 205 and prosper.
True.
Like, why can't he be Jimmy Hart and I don't know
Well, he kinda
somebody
is.
small at the same time? Like, no.
That's why I don't think they're gonna break them up. I think Enzo's probably gonna come up on some injury kayfabe, like kind of how Rusev roughed him up, and he was like off, he was off his feet for a while, and he was like hobbling down to the ring supporting Cass. I think that's gonna happen again, and that's gonna be the the push. if they're smart, what they do is they pretty much do that and then move Enzo over to like broadcast booth or have him be like a personality more so than than an in ring, because he sells pretty well. He could do those KFC Georgia Gold chicken spots or whatever. Or they can have him on like another secret thing of Southpaw Regional. There's so many things they can do with him. So
Yeah, the Snickers commercial they had was really good. Where they were playing Scrabble.
Yeah, that was good.
So we get our main event of the evening: Sami Zayn, Didi's Ginger Babe Boo,
They do him so dirty.
versus Kevin Owens.
Mm.
Owens hits the pop-up power bomb when Jericho arrives. He takes out Samoa Joe, who had made his way to ringside when it looked like Sami Zayn was about to get the win. That distraction
shout to Modelo
from Chris Jericho leads to the roll-up by Sami Zayn on Owens, and he gets the win, and he gets entered into the Andre the Giant Memorial Royal.
You know what else he does?
After the match, what is that supposed to do?
You know what else he does? He
No, I
turns his back.
Oh, yeah. After the match, Owens attacks Zayn because he turned his back.
So disgusted.
Which leads to Chris Jericho attacking Owens with the chair and making Owens run up the ramp. But before Owens could run to the back, Jericho stops him and declares that he's putting Kevin Owens on the list.
New list. The list is back.
We pop for the list.
Yes. And this brings me to something. You brought this up earlier when you're talking about William III, the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most over inanimate object in wrestling history? And I'm not talking about like inanimate objects that have names, like the list.
Well, like Mr. Sacco? Or
Mr.
like really?
Sacco.
Okay.
Head.
I
Pepe,
like Head.
Moppy. Like,
Yeah.
all these, like
Moppy.
inanimate objects. They give them names, and it's like people just go shit.
They get 2x4.
Yeah, the 2x4.
I love the 2x4.
Or
it didn't have a name. Okay.
What was the Cobra? The Santino's Cobra. This is gonna be released on the last day of March, but I'll just make a freaking bracket and just call it inanimate wrestling objects bracket and make people just vote for the all-time greatest inanimate object ever that was appropriated in wrestling history.
I liked Head.
Head was. We all like Head.
Well, yeah.
Does everybody want?
Yes, proclivities.
Does everybody need
money? Wait.
We're not talking about the post show here. What we're talking about is brackets.
That'd be fun.
Brackets.
See what everybody else says.
So yes. So yeah, that might come with the show. I don't know.
Stay tuned, folks.
That's right.
So we get our final segment. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. They come down. They cut a long minute promo, which leads to Goldberg coming out. Goldberg says the people don't want to hear them talk. They want to see them fight. And why don't they do it right? Since they can't take everybody in Philadelphia, the WrestleMania, they can just do it right here since they're both here in Philadelphia. So Goldberg goes walking down to the ring. Lesnar hops out of the ring to kind of meet him. They get kind of right there, that opening where, the ring side is. And Goldberg hits a spear on Brock Lesnar and lays Brock down. Brock cannot recover as he struggles to get up, as Goldberg then slides into the ring, poses with the belt on each turnbuckle, as Brock Lesnar is still struggling to get up and make his way to the back, with Paul Heyman in utter shock. As once again, Goldberg has gotten the dupe on Brock Lesnar.
Goldberg is bullying the fuck out of that man.
Yeah, Goldberg needs to be a star and show tolerance of respect because he's disrespecting the hell out of Brock Lesnar. Didn't he shake off? No, it was funny though. Was that one week where he took the F5 and he was holding the title belt the whole time.
Yeah.
You could tell it wasn't long after the cameras went off the air. He just got up, shook it off, and just walked to the back like, oh, all right, fine, I guess. But it's like Goldberg is like the juggernaut. He's impervious to like all Brock Lesnar's attempts at I this all points to at Mania Brock Lesnar actually making a difference and actually catching Goldberg by surprise. I think something's going to happen here where either an illegal foreign object, or he's going to blind Goldberg, or he's going to do something before I put something in his drink, or poison the locker.
What?
He's going to poison the locker that he's going to put some kind of what do you call the chloroform on the locker that he bangs his head on.
Oh my gosh.
Rubbing it with some kind of like chloroform. Goldberg's all woozy in the ring, like something's happened to Goldberg. I don't know what. It's kind of like Batman v Superman when he shot him with that kryptonite gas. That's what's going to happen. Goldberg's going to come down there, and then Brock's going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, or the Paul Heyman will be in the back, like, he'll kidnap his kid or something, and no, his kid will be tied up on the roller coaster tracks, and Goldberg's got to save him or something.
This has turned so dark.
Yes. Yes, or his wife will be tied up, and her name's Martha. You saved Martha, and then
is her name Martha?
I don't know, but it works. It worked in the movie.
I love how we just make up names for wrestler spouses on this show.
Yes, exactly, Martha.
It seems to be the trend.
Every wrestler named Martha.
This wasn't a blow away go home show on Raw, but the Undertaker thing was kind of cool.
God bless you.
So next, we're gonna roll into everybody's favorite segment here on the Wrasslecast. Hash to the tag. Smack with our SmackDown Matters correspondent, the lovely and talented Miss Didi Jenny.
Oh my gosh, the compliments. I love them. Thank you. Excuse me if I sniffle. I do not do cocaine. I just have allergies.
Oh, so that's our new drinking game for the night? The sniffle drinking game?
I mean, if that's what you want to do with yourself, we still got other things to talk about. I don't want you drunk before your time. But
2017, I didn't know that was still a thing.
Listen, people do all sorts of things.
That's not the position I heard you for.
Position? Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I gotta be somewhere at 7 tomorrow, man. And I'm gonna sound like I got helium. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm rambling because nobody cares. Well, what had happened was they were in Richmond, Virginia, right?
Yes.
And so, kind of close, not close enough. I couldn't go. But the show starts off with a contract signing between AJ and Shane. AJ's like, hey, listen, this ain't like all that other shit you've been doing. You can't jump from, the tops of cages. There are no ladders. It's just a real match. You have to be in the ring. If you're out of the ring for 10 seconds, the match is over. You're not ready. I need you to know you're not ready. And there's some more back and forth. And then Daniel Bryan's like, hey, guys, shake hands. And AJ's like, how about no? Because AJ doesn't do that. The first match of the night, was Becky Lynch versus Carmella. Alexa and Mickey are on commentary. What happened? Some things. Oh, they started fighting before the match even started. So what had happened was there was a brawl. Mickey James beat up Carmella, so then the referee called for the bell. And when you come back from commercial, there's a tag team match. I'm sure you're shocked, right? Yes. So the tag team match ends up being Alexa, excuse me, and Carmella versus Becky and Mickey. Pause. I'm sorry.
Sorry, our producers will edit that.
Thank you. But if you don't, it's just, distraction early on. So Natty comes out. She's on commentary. It only matters because there's another brawl after Carmella. No, Ellsworth. Yeah,
Ellsworth tripped Becky.
Ellsworth entered.
Yes.
See, it was a distraction finish. I knew it.
Necklace Mahoney with the distraction finish, allowing Carmella to get the pin, right?
Boom, a roll up
Mm-hmm.
pin at that.
Yes.
So more brawls, but then guess what happened? Guess who runs out? Nebe.
Yes.
She's
The
back.
glow returned.
She's back. She's back and still glowing, and she beats up everybody. And then she gets on the mic and she's like, "Yeah, I'm back. Now I'm officially in the women's title match." And she's like, "Everybody's gonna feel and the crowd finished her line for her. Oh my god, I could have cried. But then I heard that that match is gonna be on the pre-show, and I'm not happy.
Richmond's down with the glow though.
We know ethnics, so
But hold on, let's talk about this though.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's talk about you hear the music and then you just like, what? Oh my God, they're not even gonna wait to WrestleMania.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, the first thing she do, and Hurricane Rana to Natty in the middle of the aisle. Like, oh yeah, she really must be really good.
She was like, "Bitch, I'm better."
Yes, and then she gave Alexa the rear view, and all my fan fiction imagination just went wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, proclivities.
And then she did the dance. She was like, "I'm better." Like I did.
Yes.
She did the slide. She was like,
Yes.
"All these moves."
Yes, and what you think about the outfit and the hair? Fashion cast.
I don't remember the outfit. I feel like it showed off her butt quite nicely.
The
Loved
outfit
the
was
hair.
like really like real colorful.
I remember I loved the hair.
Mm-hmm.
But I love neon hair when it's done correctly. Shade.
What you think about Sasha's hair?
I like it. I
Hair.
like that it's a little deeper of a fuchsia. Magenta maybe. I like it.
Almost like purple.
Bordering on. I like it. I
Mhm.
don't like Becky's hair. She needs a rethink.
What about Alexis?
I actually like her as a
Hair.
platinum blonde. It's cute. I like it.
Okay.
I even like
No
Nikki's
fashion.
hair black. I like. Only person whose hair I really don't like is Becky's. But yeah, I don't like Becky's.
You know, all this hair talk and this woman reminds me of what Molly Holly had to do to get to WrestleMania and how far we've come as a people that we don't have to have a hair versus hair match to get women on the card at WrestleMania.
I know. Hey, do you think there'll ever be a time when Dean versus Baron Corbin is a hair versus hair match? Maybe.
Be nice.
I'm just saying.
If
You know?
a sponsor, if they get a sponsor like Rogaine.
Great clips.
Rogaine,
That's great clips.
hair
Sport
plugs for
cuts.
men.
The Sport Cuts hair versus hair match is up next.
I'm just saying, like it's getting a little dire up there, but it's fine. It's fine. At some point, Breezy Bella was walking around backstage, but that's embarrassing. We shouldn't speak on that.
Oh yeah, this is a Bella themed show, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we've women of the Wrasslecast, we have come to a conclusion that all of this shade is going to culminate in a proposal at WrestleMania. But if we're wrong, if they've just been doing this shit, I'm just saying her check better look quite nice.
What's the jeweler that WWE were doing ads for?
What, Jared?
He better go to Jared. That shit. I can see it now. Like well, I don't want. Are we get to WrestleMania predictions? But Jared himself, not the dude from Subway that's doing time, but the other motherfucker needs to come down with the equipment in there. It can't just be. He better go to Jared for real.
So there's more Total Bellas as played by Miz and Maurice. They're very good at it. It's quite nice. It all culminates in the Miz telling that they're never gonna get married. Cena's awful. He's a big dumb animal. Marie says she hopes Nikki enjoyed the Kids' Choice Award because it's the closest she's ever going to get to having kids with John Cena.
God damn.
Like I'm saying, they're going for the jugular. Like,
They just uppercutting Nikki all up in her ovaries.
it's
Like,
it's
Jesus.
hurtful. But they come out and they're acting like shit's sweet. And then John Cena talks for 30 minutes and then says the Miz talks too long. And I was just like, oh, you got nerve on you. How'd you even fix your mouth to say you talk too much? Like, that's crazy. But you know, he talked and he talked and he talked, and it was good. And he called him as a pussy, and everybody was like, "Ooh," it was wonderful. But it was 30 minutes, and I don't like John Cena that much, or at all.
I can't believe that John Cena went TV 17.
He did. He went MA, bitch.
Damn.
He went cover the baby's ears. You can say pussy though on cable now.
You can like understanding that they say like they said the bullshit on the tape thing. Okay, I get it because you know they edited it out. Yeah, it goes with it. But Cena with a live mic and knowing what Cena represents and who he draws to the arena, I can't believe he called that man that.
Before 10 p.m. I mean, Chrisley ain't even on yet, and here they come with these. That's not ass, John. I'm sure he had a nice talking to at the USA Network event.
Listen,
what was the other line that he said about the it couple?
Shit couple.
Yes,
but he said it couple. It wasn't that much of a pause. It was like you said shit. You said shit. But you can say shit now on cable.
They're not gonna.
You can't say cable at that not that early in the night though.
You can.
No, you can't. Here's the thing about cable.
I think you can.
Figured out the
Fake o'clock.
Yeah, that because if you look at any sitcoms on like TBS now, or TNT at certain shows, they'll let the F bombs and S bombs fly, or like FX does. But it's like they just squeeze it in there. There's certain shows on TBS, like a lot of these new sitcoms or comedies that end up off the air after a season. Yeah, what the fuck? Oh, that's some crazy shit. I know, right? You know, it's like they just let that happen because they remembered. It's basic cable, but it's still cable. We can do this.
It's cable. You can do it because I know Real Housewives. They'll talk about pussy, and then I was watching Feud on FX. I heard the F word. I know I heard a fuck. And I was like, ooh, like I knew about shit. I didn't know about the other one. I was like, we can say whatever we want to say.
Well, network TV, you could say you call people dicks, and people just like it's acceptable now. Like,
this should always be acceptable. You people get road rage and call everybody every name but a child of God. Like, listen.
Yeah, but the FCC ain't in my car. I'm just talking about television.
The kids know. The kids know. They listen to Future without the parental advisory on. Future. They know what it's about.
Future's for the children.
Future ain't even for his own fucking children.
I'm saying just not his.
Talking about baby Future ain't seen that man in a year.
I'm sorry, I meant back.
That is neither here nor there. Oh my god. Okay.
Wait, what's funny part about this? Didn't Nikki have some like stuff to say too?
Yeah, but who cares?
No, well, I liked the line that she had. It was like,
go ahead. I don't remember it.
Fake ass see-through jealous haters. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
She's so corny.
I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
She is so much of. She's such a fucking cornball.
When she does the Demi Moore striptease thing for her entrance that she does, when she rips the
where she takes off the shirt and reveals the shirt that's the same size.
The shirt she say fake ass see-through jealous haters on it.
Oh, I hate her. I don't even hate her, but she's so annoying. It's like I like her and then she talks and it's like I don't like you anymore.
Why?
And it's like, how did this end up being the WrestleMania match? Shouldn't you still be mad at what's her name, Natty Bo? Like, didn't that? Well, like, how did this become the thing?
Well, because Maurice, that's how it became. Maurice was the one who brought it to them because they kept fucking with Maurice. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And that was like a total deal.
Then why isn't it a triple threat match? Oh, because Maurice beat up Nikki. Oh, I guess it makes sense. I'm not interested in this. Unless, of course, the Miz and Maurice win, and then this is all worth it.
Well,
But
the
like,
build up has been really good. I mean, the Miz and Maurice have done the damn thing when it comes to these skits and these
oh,
promos.
absolutely. The thing of it is it's John Cena, and I just don't believe in anything other than him winning. Not that I want him to. It's just how these things go. So if I'm wrong, I'll be very happy. But anyway, we'll get there. The next match was a 10-man tag. It's American Alpha, Mojo of the Raleighs, Heath Slater, and Rhino. Wait a minute. 10-man match. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the Usos, Breezango, and Dolph Ziggler. Oh, the Ziggles. I don't remember the Ziggles. There was a "We Want Mojo" chant because we did. Mojo picked up the win with a running punch on Tyler Breeze.
Yes, he was Tyler Breeze and not
Breezy Bella.
not Breezy Bella,
Oh,
thankfully.
he was his real self. That's quite nice.
Golly, Tyler Breeze, what are you doing, son?
He punched the mustache off his face.
Don't ever dress up as anything in the WWE because hasn't Santino Morello taught you anything, son? Man, you won't be able not to dress up every week.
Didn't work out for Sandow, so
I miss Ms. Dow. Now, if John Cena brings Ms. Dow back,
all you gotta do is turn the channel and watch on.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. That's all right. No,
We do
I'm
not
sorry.
subject our,
I
we do not
tried.
subject our fans to any of that product, sir.
I tried that yet. I tried that earlier today. Do you know what I saw? I saw Rosemary. Okay, that's what I
Yeah,
saw.
we know you don't do Rosemary at all.
She looked like a demon, and then I saw fucking what's his name? What's that
But what if
biracial
they
butterfly's name? His wife.
Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes?
Yeah, Brandy. I saw her. She was like, I want a match, and it's like we're just gonna talk to Rosemary like she doesn't look like a demon. We're just gonna talk to her like she's a normal girl.
You need to lay off Daphne 2017.
But what
the
if
only
they bring
Daphne
back,
I acknowledge is from Scooby Doo, and she doesn't look anything like any of them ladies in that ring.
but what if they bring back Sister Abigail? She's gonna look and make her a real character. You don't think she's gonna look like
She shouldn't look like that.
Rosemary?
She can look dirty like that, but no, something about her is demonic. Like she looks like she's a juggalo or something. Like no, I don't.
They're about a couple mistakes away from her coming into the WWE. Sister Abigail, that'd be
No, I want Mika.
Yeah, that's a
right
real
there.
sister. Yeah,
his sister. She's right
his actual sister. Yeah, that would be like it would be kayfabe, and they would have a whole lot invested in it to play it and make it work.
Yeah, it's so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get sister.
Dee, we just keep saying it. You know they listen. So if we keep talking about it, they'll eventually do it.
But my thing is, that's what happens when you're Trump supporters. You don't want to do the obvious thing. You want to do the thing that you want to do. So it becomes so difficult. And it's just like, just do the obvious thing. Just go get Mika. She's got arms bigger than Tyler Breeze. Go get Mika. I'm stressed. I'm stressed when they don't listen. But anyway. Speaking of Bray and Sister Abigail's, the final match of the night was a non-title match, Bray versus Luke. Bray won. Bray caught him with his Sister Abigail for the win. Wyatt got on his knees, posed with the title, then Randy Orton was on screen, back at Abigail's gravesite, fucking with Sister Abigail, driving her across into the dirt. I don't know what that symbolizes, but that's what happened. And that's how your SmackDown ended for the week.
I didn't know Randy Orton was a new playable character in Tekken. You know what I'm talking about, Classic?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's the first thing I thought about. Was like, oh shit, Randy Orton on some Tekken shit.
You know what?
Put the spike in the ground and she came out.
Yes, it's funny because we're going to WrestleMania with 2 supernatural matches with like where we have to believe in some kind of like powerful demon magic thing because that's part of the angle. It like this is Vince McMahon in his heyday. This is like late 80s, early 90s era, WWF that we're looking at here with these, and it's like, oh, it's okay, because Randy Orton can stab a grave, and we have to believe that that's the reason why they're fighting. It's not for the belt because that don't mean shit.
He's trying to be a little bit of Lucha Underground with it, but with not quite the same execution.
Yeah, you burned down my house, and then you took the ashes and then you put them on, and then you beat me down with a bunch of sheet mask people and stuff. It's like,
no, the sheet mask people beat down. That was good.
It was. It's just when they played a video package and the highlight of this years later, it's like, really, all this shit for a match? It used to be you could drape the guy's throat across the ring post and then go from the top rope with the ring bell, come across the back. And it's like, okay, then Steamboat's out for months. Now we have your WrestleMania payoff. We don't need a payoff because you're having a fucking comic book week after week in front of us here. I don't care who wins this match because I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? I'm lost. That's my reaction to this. I am so lost right now.
Yes,
who wins this match at all?
The supernatural is taking over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we don't want All Lives Matter to win, but I mean,
DD is definitely all against All Lives Matter.
I don't do the Orton. That's all Mel.
So, at this time, of course, this is a time where we accept the kind that jingles, but we prefer the kind that falls. So please go to www.cspn.us, click on the tab that says support the podcast, support our sponsors. Go to Skull Candy, gives you a great set of new headphones. I got the inked wireless, $47. Need them in a hurry, so I pay a little bit extra, but you could have free shipping if you place your order through cspn.us. Do like I did, kick back a few extra dollars to the account. You don't have to spend any extra money if you don't want to. If you want shipping to be a little bit faster, you can, but there's no extra charge, and a little bit of that money comes back to us here at the podcast, so we can go week after week. So again, that's cspn.us. Click on our banner that says support the podcast. Click on that Skull Candy banner. Gives you some new headphones, a Bluetooth speaker, headset, DJ headset, gaming headset. Just do some shopping and help keep our podcast free. We're going to move into NXT really fast and 205 Live. 205 Live, we had 3 matches. Rich Swann versus Daivari. Please say the homie. Gets the win with the Phoenix Splash. Mustafa Ali defeats Brian Scott with the 450. And they're starting with Mustafa Ali and Drew Gulak, where Drew Gulak has this thing against the High Flyers, and Mustafa Ali is kind of his first person that he's kind of trying to change. So he was watching his match, doing all his high flying moves, very disgusted. Then we had our main event, the Brian Kendrick versus Akira Tozawa. They do a spot where they expose the turnbuckle. Well, that exposed turnbuckle comes into play as Tozawa tries to charge Brian Kendrick, but he moves out of the way. Of course, Tozawa plows into the exposed turnbuckle. Kendrick gets to roll up. He gets the pin, and he gives him another lesson that any and everything can be used as a weapon. And that was 205 Live. DD, you would have been very, very, very proud of your man, the Brian Kendrick, this week.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely proud. It was a really good match. Yeah, he was the man with the plan this week. It's like a 10-minute match, but it was really good. Akira Tozawa and him, they really did a good job. So I know a lot of people don't watch 205 Live, but every week they do have at least one or two matches that are very, very good. So this week it was the Brian Kendrick. NXT, had Gargano, Wilder, and Akam, each member of the triple threat tag team match that's going to happen this week. Dawson steals the win after Akam powerbombed Gargano, but was distracted by Dawson and couldn't follow up for a pin.
Ooh.
Then we get get your drink on. Then we get an Aleister Black promo on his match at TakeOver against CN Almas. New tag team, Heavy Machinery versus Jonathan Organ and Mike Marshall. Heavy Machinery sandwiched Organ. Then Trevor Knight slams his tag team partner on top of Organ, and they get the win. Then we get a contract signing between Ember Bay and Asuka, with Steven Regal, of course, presiding over the affairs. This, she knows who Asuka is, and that she has been training hard, and she is ready to dethrone Asuka. Asuka says she doesn't know who Ember Moon is, and even though she thinks she is, Ember's not ready. Then we get our main event, Elias Sampson versus Cassius Ohno. A loser leaves NXT match. Cassius Ohno gets the victory after hitting the discus forearm. They struggle to get Sampson to leave. He says he only wants his guitar, and then he'll leave. Ohno appears with the guitar and smashes it to the delight of the crowd. And Elias Sampson, a.k.a. the Drifter, is no longer in NXT. And then they just showed a big video package of Nakamura and Bobby Roode to close out the show, leading up to their match this Saturday at TakeOver Orlando. The hashtag, of course, will be hashtag Cast Takeover this Saturday night. So now, before we're all dressed up, our finest, everybody has been announced. It is time for the 2017 Wrasslecast Hall of Fame.
Yes.
This year we have a total of 9 inductees. We have tag teams, we have women, we have 2 managers, celebrity, contributors, and each one of the hosts got to submit a personal favorite. So we'll get our first inductee this year. His first vignette aired in April of 1998, where he debuted his legendary corn phrase, "Hello, ladies." He debuted on Raw against Two Cold Scorpio on May 18th. It's none other than Val Venus. Val Venus' first major rival in the WWF was against Kai and Tai, which produced the line linked the most with Val Venus, "I choppy choppy your pee-pee."
I still laugh to this day at that shit. Sorry.
Luckily, for Val, was a power malfunction, and there was no choppy choppy of the pee-pee. His next big angle was against Goldust when he stole Goldust's wife, Terry Reynolds. At this time, Goldust wasn't Goldust. He was Dustin. Dustin Reynolds. He had gone back to kind of being more of like a religious total 180 of the Goldust character. They had 2 great matches in the fall of 1998. Check out their match at Breakdown in September and Judgment Day in October. In 1999, Val Venus defeated Ken Shamrock at the St. Valentine's Day Massacre to become the Intercontinental Champion. During this time, he also set his sights on Shamrock's sister, Ryan. The build to this match was most remembered for the Saving Ryan's Privates vignettes. That was great. That was when he would like pop up with the army helmet from behind the bushes. That was good.
I saw the video of that just today when I was like picking up clips on Val Venus, and the actual name of the video or the movie itself was called Sister Act. But throughout it, he kept saying, "I'm here filming Saving Ryan's Privates," and there's one point where he like gets in the shower with her, and like, so it's just, this was during the Attitude Era where things were just as risque as they can possibly be. WWF was trying to really trying to get viewers back onto their show because a lot of them went to Monday Nitro, and Val Venus was a big part of their resurgence. So
For sure. Later in 1999, Val worked the most high-profile program of his career versus Mankind. Val defeated Mankind at No Mercy using the testicular claw. Val then would team up with Trish Stratus in 2000, and he would regain the Intercontinental title and have a fantastic. Check out their steel cage match for Fully Loaded 2000, where Rikishi gives Val Venus a splash from the top of the cage, one of the most memorable Rikishi moments. Val would have stints in the Right to Censor, and also as Chief Morley, Eric Bischoff's chief of staff. He would eventually get released from the company and, do his thing in the independent and so forth and so on. So Val Venus was a two-time Aussie champ. He was also a European champ, and he was also a tag team champion with Lance Storm. So that was the Val Venus. Dee Dee, would you like to join in on some words about Val Venus?
No, I just, as a young gal growing up, he wasn't the first one because that guy was Edge, but he was a part of that, trio of, hey, and then he came out in the towel, and I remember him getting into the shower with ladies and all of that, and I can't quite remember his in-ring contributions, but some wrestlers go beyond the squared circle, okay?
Well, I remember his in ring. He was pretty solid performer. He would do like fisherman suplexes, reverse figure fours, Russian leg sweeps, stuff like that, knee drops. So it was like typical wrestling of the early 90s or late 80s. So he was kind of that throwback. But his finisher was very reminiscent of another Hall of Famer, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. He would do a diving splash off the top rope, but he called it the money shot. That was the move that really like took you out. And I just like the fact that like he had the charisma, the mic work. He was able to like speak, very eloquently on the microphone. And just that whole gimmick, the porn star gimmick, I don't know if that was his idea or or Rich Russo or somebody in the back gave him that idea. He really played it to like the fullest. He was pretty much a huge character in the Attitude Era. You can't think about the Attitude Era and not mention Val Venus, notable by the feuds Don talked about. It's something that's very memorable. So definitely worthy of the Wrasslecast Hall of Fame. As we talk about those that may or may not be in the WWE or in other pro wrestling halls of fame, but we appreciate them here on the Wrasslecast.
That's right. Our next inductee, Wahoo McDaniels. Wahoo McDaniels played in the AFL for the Houston Oilers, the Denver Broncos, and the New York Jets. Once for the New York Jets, he made 23 tackles in the game. He was known in the AFL for wearing his first name on the back of his jersey, Wahoo. And during his season with the Jets, when he would make a tackle, the public address announcer would say, "Guess who?" and the crowd would chant, "Wahoo." He was trained by the legendary Dory Funk Sr. His first major success in wrestling came in Houston, often against Dory Funk Jr. for the NWA title. After his run in Houston, Wahoo moved on to the AWA, where he had programmed with the superstar Billy Graham. In 1974, he came to Crockett Promotions, where he would have his greatest feuds versus Johnny Valentine. A good funny story. A couple of years ago, wrestling came, and it was near the end. It was like the main event. We're getting ready to clean up so we can go home. So we're down there watching it. And we're standing in one of the aisles. And in his 60s, with a pair of overalls, looks like Uncle Jesse from the Dukes of Hazzard. It's kind of walking out, man, this ain't like this stuff right here. This stuff is so fake. It's not like when I was coming over here to the Dorton Arena watching Wahoo McDaniels and Johnny Valentine wrestle. He was like, now that was real. He was like, that was the real deal. He was like, I can't get with this old phony crap right here. So that just tells you how believable those two guys were in their feud, where that guy can still remember that. And he had to probably be in his childhood or teen days and was being real professional wrestling. Wahoo McDaniel would go on to win the Mid-Atlantic title from Johnny Valentine in June of 1975, and he would hold the Mid-Atlantic title 6 times. Wahoo would also be a 5-time U.S. heavyweight champion. From 1975 to 1977, he feuded with 2 young up-and-comers of the Mid-Atlantic promotion, and Ric Flair and Greg Valentine. He was known as the man in the Indian strap match. Second inductee, the legendary Wahoo McDaniel. There's some stories about Wahoo McDaniel being able to like run like 3, 4, 5 miles and not be tired and winning bets with people. He was known for being a hell of a partier, being able to, drink all types of whiskey and beer, and just a real outlaw and, a product of the professional wrestling business, but one of the greatest athletes to ever be a part of American sports. He was also a member of the Bud Wilkinson Oklahoma football teams that won like 51 games in a row back in the 40s and 50s. So yeah, he's next to probably Jim Thorpe. He's probably like the second greatest Native American athlete in the country.
Probably one of the greatest Native Americans, wrestlers of all time, if not the greatest. People seem to forget that Chief Jay Strongbow was not Native American.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, but Wahoo McDaniel was the real deal. And there was an angle near the end of his career where the two of them, he and Chief Jay Strongbow, supposedly passed the torch to Tonka. That late in his career, being able to still, get involved in angles and continue to contribute to the business is huge. And I would say Wahoo McDaniel is probably one of the ultimate baby faces. Every time I've seen, record of him or heard about anything with him, he's always like, one of the good guys. And that big, you mentioned the big feud with Valentine. It was with Johnny Valentine, and when Greg Valentine came up in the 70s and they had the feud, that was when Greg Valentine, also a Hall of Famer by the way, was he caught a lot of heat with the crowd because he wore shirts that said "I broke Wahoo's leg" after breaking his leg, and no more Wahoo. And you think about wearing those kinds of T-shirts, making custom-made T-shirts in the 70s and then wearing them to the ring saying I broke someone's leg. I mean, now you'd have to wear something more racy on a shirt. But you could imagine the boos that were heard from the crowd and how much they revered and adored Wahoo McDaniel for them to react that way. But he feuded with the best of them, from the Valentines, the Ric Flair, the Roddy Piper, Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, it's a who's who, and they all went up against Wahoo McDaniel.
And you probably point to their chest and show you little marks where Wahoo took flesh off their chest with those chops.
Billy Graham, Magna TA, Kurt Hennig, Larry Zapis. I mean, come on, it's a who's who. So if he's not in your Hall of Fame, then you should have a Hall of Fame. And so we're proud of putting ours.
Next up, we go to the Orient. The Great Muta. The Great Muta was trained by Hiro Matsuda in the New Japan Dojo. For a lot of people who don't know, Hiro Matsuda was also the main trainer down in Florida, and he famously broke the time that Hulk Hogan wanted to come be a wrestler. There's a famous place where they held their television tapings in Florida. They called it the Snake Pit, and anybody who wanted to get into the ring, they would basically have shooters there, and they would basically try to hurt guys. I posted a video under the What We're Watching hashtag of Bob Roop literally trying to rip this guy's shoulder out of his socket. Quite amazing. to see, what wrestling holds could do to you if they really wanted to apply them in ways to maim and hurt people. So it just tells you, what kind of guy Hiro Matsuda was, and this is the guy who trained the Great Muta. He debuted in October in 1984 against another legend to be Masahiro Chono. In 1987, he became a member of the Idolers. Muta debuted in the NWA on March 18th, 1989, with Gary Hart as his manager. He had great Sting at the Great American Bash and Ric Flair at Starrcade of 1989. He would become the NWA television champ in September of 1989. The Great Muta was the All Japan Pro Triple Crown champion 3 times, the IWGP Heavyweight champion 4 times, the IWGP Tag Team champion 6 times. He was the NWA World Champion once. He won the 1995 G1 Climax. And he was the first person ever to perform a moonsault on TV in the United States. And not to mention, he made the spitting of the green mist famous. It was started by Kabuki, but he made it famous.
The Wrasslecast Hall of Famer Green Mist. We inducted that last year.
That's right. Just sensational. I remember the first time I ever saw the Great Muta. He had the face paint, and he had the little Japanese writing inside of the face paint, and just the way he moved around the ring, how graceful he was, and it just looked like he took like 3 strides and he was all the way across the ring, and how quick and how he did everything with such precision. Oh man, he was fantastic.
Yeah, the Great Muta, as he was known at the time, or that version of his gimmick, he was probably one of the most feared and respected wrestlers. Even when I used to watch him in like the 90s, when he came over to NWA and WCW, going up against Sting and Flair and everything, he was mysterious. You couldn't tell. And I remember Gary Hart billed him as like he a master of all martial arts, and like at the time you couldn't imagine that. Maybe that's bullshit. I don't know if it's not, but this guy knows all the martial arts: karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, and you're like, oh shit, we're in trouble. How's Sting gonna fight that? It's just amazing, and he's still going. He's still wrestling to this day. I mean, was he on the Wrestle Kingdom card a few months back?
Yeah,
still working in Japan, and just amazing across the board. The Great Muta is like a legend. A great pick for a Hall of Fame, and anyone that can spit the mist like that, and make it a staple. And he's going through so many looks, but at his age, 54, still, still in great shape, and can still go in the ring and still like teaching the young guys, and got a lot of followers. Just the influence alone is just tremendous. Yeah, a lot of great memories of the Great Muta over the years. Oh, also he was in the NWO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Both the original and the one in the American side, because he came over and it was like, the Great Muta's with us now. But by that time, the NWO was like kind of like, everyone, Big Bubba, there was like, everyone was in the NWO.
Yeah, it was
so he was there. Big Scott Norton was there. I'm surprised Ultimo Dragon wasn't in the NWO.
Next up, we're going to bring in Doom with Teddy Long. Doom was a tag team made up of Butch Reed and Ron Simmons. They originally debuted under masks, and they were managed by Woman, a.k.a. Nancy Benoit. But they eventually had a falling out, and Woman went to go be the manager of the Four Horsemen. Doom made their debut in WCW at Halloween Havoc in 1989 versus the Steiner Brothers. On February 6, 1990, Doom lost a match to the Steiner Brothers, and due to the stipulation, they had to unmask. Shortly after unmasking, Teddy Long became their manager, And at Capital Combat, Doom defeated the Steiner Brothers to become the World Tag Team Champions. During their title run, they had feuds with the Rock and Roll Express and Flying Brian and the Z-Man, Tom Zink. Their highest profile feud was during the fall of 1990 versus the Four Horsemen. At Halloween Havoc 1990, Doom defended their title successfully versus Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. At Starrcade of 1990, Doom defended their title successfully versus Barry Windham and Arn Anderson. At the 1991 Wrestle War event, miscommunication cost Doom a match versus the Freebirds. That led to Butch Reed turning on Ron Simmons and thus ending the tag team known as Doom. One of the most devastating tag teams when they first came out. They came out first as heels, of course, against the babyface Steiner Brothers, and they were just causing destruction. They were two big, jacked up black dudes under masks, and they were real scary. They didn't say a lot, and they were very mysterious, and they definitely caught your eye. The thing that stood out, though, is their feud with the Horsemen. They kind of played it up as like a little bit of racial tension going on, as the Horsemen didn't want to dress in the same locker room as Doom or whatever, and so they eventually had something scenario where Ric Flair ended up winning Teddy Long for a day to be like his chauffeur, to drive him around Atlanta in his Bentley, Rolls Royce or whatever, limousine or whatever, and somehow they end up duping Ric Flair and they take him to the hood. And they ended up jumping them and supposedly stripping down the car and everything like that, kind of in the build up to this, match they had at Halloween Havoc between Doom, Ric Flair, and Arn Anderson. So that kind of always stood out to me as one of the, where they got over on the Four Horsemen, and it was some good TV. So
SZM was strong in 1990. SZM was running deep. Doom would have been DD's favorite tag team back in the day. But here's the thing about Doom that I liked too, and we inducted them as a tag team with Teddy Long, particularly because the Teddy Long version was the best version, and because Teddy Long is being inducted this year in the Hall of Fame, and Ron Simmons is a Wrasslecast Hall of Famer. But when they debuted as women's mass team to take on the Steiners and start that feud, that was after Rick Steiner got set up by Robin Green. A female fan was like following him around, took him on a date, and next thing you know, next thing you know, Rick is like all distracted, and then Doom comes in and like just starts beating on the Steiner brothers. I just remember like that those series of like snippets and everything, and then Doom comes in and I'm like, wait a minute, this little meek white woman got these two big black dudes with masks coming on, beating on them and stuff. I gotta watch this more often. I didn't have cable back then, but this was like, what? I knew who the Steiner brothers were. I was like, who are these guys? What the shit, And so it really, kind of, it was a new situation, and they, it turns out that they, were two greats, two legends in the business, and you got to know them a lot better. Ron Simmons went on to, create history in his career, and Butch Reed was already a legendary superstar, was former WWF superstar, with a natural Butch Reed. So to see them unmasked like that and have them together, and then Teddy Long take it to a new level. In fact, when they were under Teddy Long's management, they were also Teddy Long was also managing one Meek Mark Calloway, who would later go on to be the Undertaker.
Yeah.
And the original Skyscrapers. And that was when the Skyscrapers used to beat down the Road Warriors. And the Steiners and the Road Warriors were all just catching beat downs by Teddy Long, managed teams. Teddy Long was like probably one of the most feared managers back in the days. And, so there's no reason why he can't be a Hall of Famer. Doom was.
That's right.
And it was such a move that Doom had. It's just they just beat the crap out of him.
Yeah. They had that move that Braun Strowman does where they do that power slam, but they slam you face first into the canvas.
Yes. It wasn't like Doom had some they weren't doing no Doomsday Device or none of that stuff. It was like their finishing moves were a diving shoulder block and a shoulder tackle. That's
right.
You get hit by Doom, you're not getting up. it was
Good old days.
yes.
So moving from one manager of champions to another, our next inductee, Bobby the Brain Heenan. He had a 40-year career spanned through the AWA, the WWF, and WCW. In his career as a wrestler, though, and in the ring, he took on the name Pretty Boy Bobby Heenan. In 1975, Heenan guided Nick Bockwinkel to the AWA title. During his run in the AWA, he became known as the Weasel due to his matches versus top-notch talent that required the loser to wear a weasel suit. He then moved on to the WWF, where he formed his Heenan family. In 1987, Heenan was the driving force behind Andre the Giant turning on Hulk Hogan and finally setting his sights on the WWF title. Aside from being a manager, he also began co-hosting Primetime Wrestling with Gorilla Monsoon and became the lead color announcer for Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. He then would move over to WCW in 1993 to also serve as the role as the lead color commentator. Rosters of wrestlers that he's managed included Nick Bockwinkel, The Islanders, Mr. Perfect, Barbarian, Ric Flair, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, Haku, Ken Patera, the Blackjacks, and Andre the Giant. Bobby Heenan is maybe widely considered the greatest all-around performer in the history of wrestling. He was a wrestler, he was a manager, he was a commentator, he could bump, he could talk and bring people into the building, he could come up with finishes, he could put matches together. There's nothing in the business that he didn't do and that he couldn't do. And he came up with my all-time favorite line I've ever heard a wrestling commentator say. Why do you kick a man when he's down? Because he's closer to your foot. Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Bobby the Brain Heenan is just fantastic, phenomenal. Think about just the Heenan family and who he managed throughout. I mean, the Hall of Famers that he managed up and down the list. You know, King Harley Race, Haku, who later went on to become Ming, Ravishing Rick Rude, Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, King Kong Bundy. Oh my gosh, it's just so fast. And Mr. Perfect, Hercules Hernandez, or Hercules, if you want to call it that. And the moments that he had, I remember when well, two big memories, of course, with Bobby Heenan. I maybe throw a third in there. Of course, everyone remembers when he managed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, the biggest, one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, or probably the biggest match of all time in terms of like pay-per-view and fanfare, and him like kind of coming down with Andre to the ring, getting carted down, and then like having to leave all embarrassed afterward. But you know, the thing that led up to WrestleMania, to that match, was Bobby Heenan showing up with Andre the Giant on Piper's Pit and Hulk Hogan freaking the fuck out because basically Heenan and Hogan were like that was his nemesis. Heenan spent his whole time in WWF trying to bring Hogan down and consider Hulkamania dead. Think about all the guys he threw at him. You know, King Kong Bundy would splash and be like, Hulkamania is dead, and Hulk Hogan would get up and start shaking and shit like that. So finally, he's got the guy that's gonna kill Hulkamania, Andre the Giant, and his best friend, and he shows up, and Hulk is freaking out. He's like, Andre, why'd you show up with him? Why are you here with him? And it's like, the way he said with him was like, of all people, why this guy? Because this guy is going to basically, he's basically means my doom or my demise. And the Hulk Hogan gave the funniest line. He's like, just because you came here with him, it don't mean you got to leave with him. I mean, imagine your girl showing up with, somewhere with like somebody. Just because you showed up with him don't mean you got to leave with him. Come on, Andre. And then Andre snatched his chain, and the rest is history.
Come on, brother. Anybody but him, bro.
Yes.
Brother.
And when Ravishing Rick Rude lost the belt, the IC title, to the Ultimate Warrior at SummerSlam, and Heenan and Rude are being interviewed backstage, and they're both like freaking out, but Heenan is like flipping to the point where he's like trying to talk to me, Gene, and he's like, because what happened was Roddy Piper like came and mooned Rick Rude, pulled up his kilt at him, and that was a distraction finish because Rude was distracted by him being mooned, and the Ultimate Warrior got the pinfall. In fact, take a drink. But afterward, he's so eloquent, but he's like hyperventilating, and he's just like, "There's no way he should come down the ringside to get, and he's like loses all composure. It's the first time I've ever seen like Heenan lose control of himself, because this is the most well-spoken, most eloquent guy. I mean, he can insult you in and out of your chair, and if there's anyone that is that defines wrestling as far as like bring it to where it is today, it's Bobby Heenan.
Exactly. Definitely one of the, like I said, one of the greatest talents all around to ever perform in the business, and he was a major player in all three major federations of the time period. So greatly deserving of the Wrasslecast Hall of Fame. Next up, Ivory. She debuted in early 1999 as a backup for Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown, who were having issues with Terry Reynolds and Jackie, known as PMS at the time. On Sunday Night Heat prior to WrestleMania 15, she was burned on the cheek by Terry Cigar, and that kind of threw her into the program. There was some miscommunication that led to that caused D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry a match that led them to separate from Ivory. So she went out on her own. On June 14th, 1999, Ivory beating Deborah. Ivory had her first major in-ring program with Tori, which led to their match at SummerSlam in 1999, and a string of other matches on SmackDown that followed soon after. She then began a rivalry with Moolah and Mae Young, which climaxed at No Mercy 1999 when she lost the women's title to Moolah. To censor and would defeat Lita, Trish, and Jackie to regain the women's title. Ivory would defend the title and retain it versus Lita at Survivor Series 2000. Ivory's biggest program was yet to come, and that was against China. As a member of the Right to Censor, her and Val Venus gave China, a spike power driver that led to an injury to China's neck. Ivory and China would meet up at the 2001 Royal Rumble, in which Ivory would hold on to the title. Ivory and China would meet again at WrestleMania 17. The outcome this time was much different, as China steamrolled Ivory to capture the title. Ivory finished her career as a three-time women's champion. And in 2005, she left the WWE and was credited as one of the women who brought back serious wrestling to the women's division. Dee, do you have any memories of Ivory?
Not really. I just remember. Wait, was she in? She was in a group, wasn't she?
Right to Censor.
Yes, she was in Right to Censor.
I remember her in that. And then I remember all of a sudden she stopped and she was wearing like bikinis and shit. I remember that.
Well, she was doing the Divas thing and doing the bikini shoots and all that stuff before, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't like the transition was kind of abrupt, and I was like, oh shit, look at her.
Yeah.
So like I remember that, but I don't remember her.
Oh yeah,
wrestling. I don't know why I don't remember her wrestling anybody. She was around like the Trish, Lita, Molly Holly time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't recall her.
Yeah, she was also a former member of the Glow, and not the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrasslecast, but the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling promotion of the early 80s.
Yeah, she was in Glow in the like from 86 and through the late 80s, and so to wrestle in Glow and then show up in WWF in 1999 and start.
Sure.
So people think her career started in 99, but like she was.
So she's old.
She's old.
She's old.
She's got a lot of
but
years.
She looks good.
Yes. Yes. This was one of my personal picks. In fact, when I said to Don, "Hey, you got the Hall of Fame roster together?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I gotta give you my pick." And he's like, "Well, who is it?" I was like, before you can finish, I was like, "It's Ivory." As far as women in wrestling, she's probably one of the most unsung heroes. Because of her experience, she was a leader in the locker room. A lot of greats, the Trishas and the Litas and everything, they owe a lot to her for her experience. She's put a lot of them over. At the same time, she's had her time in the sun with the 3 championships. Um, Great in the ring, great worker. She knows how to take a bump. She knows how to, she knows how to basically. She has charisma. She's a great heel, great bad gal. That her programs, like Don said, with Moolah, were funny. With the cat, with Right to Censor, when she went up against China, and that whole anytime you could do an angle on someone's injury, like we broke your neck, and she let that last for weeks while holding the title to the point where you hated the hell out of her, and you were like, so you were rooting for China, even if you were like lukewarm on China. By the time China came back, you were like, come on, beat her ass, China, really get her out of there, because she really knew how to like push those buttons, and then went on to become one of the trainers on Tough Enough. Uh, for you to be selected as a trainer on Tough Enough, you really got to know your shit. Yeah, and she definitely did. So I mean, next to Jackie, probably one of the most influential, powerful women on that roster. There was no doubt she had to be in this Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah. Her and Jackie had some great matches against each other during that time as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No kidding. Definitely.
Next up, another personal favorite of the chairman here, none other than Mr. Fuji. Mr. Fujiwara made his wrestling debut on December 15th, 1965 in Hawaii. He won his first title, the NWA Hawaii Tag Team titles, with King Curtis Ikea a little over a year later. Fujiwara would shorten his name to Fuji, and in 1972, he debuted in the WWF. Fuji would form a tag team with Professor Tanaka, and they would be managed by the Grand Wizard. Fuji and Tanaka beat Sonny King and Chief Jay Strongbow in June of 1972 to become the WWF Tag Team Champions. As champions, the duo defended the titles versus the WWF champion Pedro Morales and Bruno Sammartino several times. Fuji and Tanaka would then leave the Northeast for Georgia, where the duo won the vacant Georgia Tag Team titles in 1975. Fuji returned to the WWF, where he formed a tag team with Mr. Saito. And in 1981, October, they defeated Tony Garea and Rick Martel. In 1985, Fuji retired from the. He would become known for his black tuxedo, bowler hat, and throwing salt in the eyes of his wrestlers' opponents. His first client as a manager was George the Animal Steele. His greatest success as a manager came when he started being the manager for Yokozuna in 1992. Under the tutelage of Mr. Fuji, Yoko would become a two-time WWF champion. Mr. Fuji won multiple tag team titles throughout all the territories, including the Mid-Atlantic, San Francisco, and Pacific Northwest territories. Fuji would end his career as a five-time WWF/WWF tag team champion. His most notable are Don Morocco, the Moondogs, Kamala, Demolition, the Orient Express, Owen Hart, British Bulldog, and like I said before, Yokozuna and George the Animal Steele. So, Mr. Fuji, one of the best, didn't know that he had such an extensive wrestling background and such a long wrestling background, a 20-year career inside the ring, and just all the tag team titles that he won throughout his career was very interesting, because when I saw Mr. Fuji, it was definitely after 1985, and he was just the guy on the outside of the ring with the salt.
Yeah, I got to know Mr. Fuji as a manager too, watching WWF as a kid and everything. It's funny because I remember one of my older cousins' magazines. I think he had Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and the cover was like an old photo of Hulk Hogan, Mr. Fuji in the ring. And it was like, I guess they wrestled in Japan a year or two earlier, a couple years earlier. And the article inside was like Hulk Hogan versus Mr. Fuji. And I was like, what? Mr. Fuji fought Hulk Hogan for real? And Hulk Hogan, the caption, the subtitle on it reads, "Oh, it was like wrestling my father." and it like just described how Mr. Fuji did all these like dirty tricks in the ring, and Hulk Hogan eventually won, but it was like probably one of the toughest matches of his life. And what I didn't know was Hulk Hogan was like, wrestled so extensively in Japan, and this was like one of his learning experiences wrestling out there. So I'm sure Fuji took him to school. But yeah, under the tutelage of Mr. Fuji did not manage you; you were under his tutelage. And
That's right.
of the people that he managed, you mentioned Yokozuna, where he got his most success, and probably his second most successful wrestler, or in the stable, were Demolition.
Mm-hmm.
Demolition, that tag team, that historic tag team run where they kept the belts for so long, that was eclipsed by the New
Broken by the
Day.
New Day.
That
Yeah.
was started under the tutelage of Mr. Fuji. Now, Mr. Fuji uh, did turn on Demolition and tried to pick up the Powers of Pain to take the belts from them, but was unsuccessful. And then he ended up selling like the rights to the Powers. But basically, Mr. Fuji took a Legion of Doom or Road Warriors knockoff, and kind of turned them into like the WWS version, and made them super successful to the point where by the time the Legion of Doom did come over, their feud with Demolition seemed reputable. Like, oh yeah, well they can fight each other, and Demolition, and there were people like they were cheering on Demolition.
Right.
The Magnificent Morocco was another, um, sort of under the tutelage of Mr. Fuji as another client. In fact,
Big stars of primetime wrestling in the early
yes,
days of primetime wrestling. Fuji
yes,
Vice.
Fuji Vice. But even before then, um, he hung Ricky Steamboat.
Oh yeah, yeah, he did.
Don Morocco, before Ricky Steamboat. For some reason, people get going after Ricky Steamboat's neck, and Ricky Steamboat's another Wrasslecast Hall of Famer, by the way. But before this big feud with Macho Man that everyone knows about, he had a vicious feud with Magnificent Morocco. Mr. Fuji was on the outside of the ring, so it was like Ricky Steamboat had to go up against this big burly dude, the original Rock, and Mr. Fuji on the outside, and you couldn't tell which way was up. In that case, to the point where at one point they had a rope around dude's neck and they was pretty much hanging him. And I'm like, yo, this Asian dude's getting lynched on my TV. What the hell? 1986. He's really gonna do this right now? And then they went on to do Fuji Vice, which is the greatest television series ever made. Go watch it right now if you're listening. But yeah, Fuji Vice is really the reason why he's inducted into the Wrasslecast Hall of Fame.
Yes, one of the great running skits of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, there you have it, folks. And then of course, with Yokozuna, joined by spokesman James E. Cornette, Mr. Fuji continued onward. And wasn't he also? I'm trying to think. He wasn't, because I was like, that's not Yamaguchi's son. That was a different wrestler. That was a different manager. For some reason, I thought he was at some point Yamaguchi's son. Was Kaintai? That was someone else.
No.
That was the end of it for Mr. Fuji. He did pass away this past year, this past August. But he's 82 years old, and of course, he's a longtime WWE Hall of Famer. But yeah, we looked at our rosters like, how is Mr. Fuji not in here? He's definitely in here this year.
Right.
Oh, and he did the Cobra Clutch. Another reason why he's in there.
Now we're moving over to the celebrity wing. This year's celebrity inductee, the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin.
Well, I gotta do this like Vince did at WrestleMania 3. The Queen of Soul, Miss Aretha Franklin.
She's the holder of 21 number one R&B singles. She has 18 Grammys, and she sold over 75 million albums worldwide. But the reason why she's getting into the Wrasslecast Hall of Fame is because she sang America the Beautiful at WrestleMania 3 at the Pontiac Silverdome in 1987, which was the largest indoor crowd in the history of the WWF at that time. Then she returned to Ford Field at WrestleMania 24 to sing America the Beautiful again. Aretha Franklin, one of the best voices ever. The iconic image of her sitting at that piano in the daytime in the middle of the ring. Yeah, that always stood out when they would like try to promote the video for WrestleMania 3 to me.
She was once married to Colonel Taylor. I just looked it up, and I'm like, spouses. What? Anyway.
Wait. From a
Yes.
different
Glenn
world?
Thurbin.
Yes, Glenn Turman from
No.
1978 to 1984. They divorced then,
Ooh.
and yes,
What?
Dr. War
That was
and
before
Queen
her
Soul.
titties was. Never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
titties going titty.
Never
I don't know
mind.
how
Let me
you
not talk
heard
about
that on
Reefer
the
like that.
Wrasslecast, folks, but yes.
Let me not. Aretha look like she keep a blade on her. I don't know.
She's 75 years
She
young.
from Memphis.
Uh-huh.
I feel like she keeps something on her at all times. In the city. Like
Mm.
in the city.
Yeah. Memphis
Under the
and
fold.
and then hometown Detroit. So yeah,
Please.
that's
She keep a couple.
yeah, she ain't trying to mess with you. That the iconic moments of WrestleMania 3 and because the WWE Hall of Fame does not have a celebrity inductee this year, and if they did, it would be her. One of the
Are
few
you sure?
Well, it's either gonna be her or Cyndi Lauper, and I don't know.
Oh, I was thinking Flow Rider. No.
What?
I don't know.
Flow Rider has still, he's still got plenty of time.
He got a few more years to cook.
Yeah, to add to his shitty legacy of making me hate all of his music. The fact is they got Flow Rider and Pitbull doing a performance.
I like Pitbull. I don't care what y'all say.
That's the longest piss break I'm taking in life.
I like Pitbull.
That's a halftime show.
I like Pitbull. I don't care.
You can tweet me when they go back to wrestling and they get them fools off the stage, because I will not be watching. I will be popping all the popcorn in the world. I am not sitting there for that. Green light. Green light to go use the bathroom. Thank you very much. That should be the pre-show. Is their performance?
What do we hear? A couple haters.
I can sing badly, do push-ups too. I'll be fine. Don't like push-ups.
So we're going to move into our final entry, our contributors. We have two for this year. We have Dave and Earl Hebner.
Yes.
Dave and Earl Hebner are identical twins from Richmond, Virginia. Dave Hebner began his career in the late 70s working around the Richmond and working for the WWF in the early 1980s. Dave would be the third man in the ring for such classics as Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage at WrestleMania 3 and Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 5. Earl Hebner got his start in the 80s for Jim Crockett Promotions. He was the referee for the Tully Blanchard Magnum TA I Quit match, Starrcade 85. He was the official for the first ever War Games, and he was also the referee for the final match of the Buckhouse Stampede. Earl Hebner left Jim Crockett Promotions in 1988 and debuted as a referee for the title match between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant on Saturday night's main event. At Saturday night, became a major part of the storyline between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant when Earl replaced Dave as a referee due to the $1 Million Man locking Dave in a closet. Then began the evil referee twin angle. And do you know how much money the $1 Million Man spent for this man's face to look like that man's face? Came out of Hogan's mouth. It was one of the famous promos during that time. So what happened in the match was Earl gave Hogan a quick count and ignored the fact that Hogan had his shoulder up and awarded the title belt to Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Classic, iconic moment.
You know what's not iconic?
What?
How Earl has his picture on his Wikipedia page, but Dave doesn't.
Yeah. Earl was also the third man in Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series in 1997. Both Hebner brothers left the WWE in 2005. Dave hung up his striped shirt, while Earl is currently the senior official for TNA.
Yeah. In fact, his son is also official of TNA too.
Brian Hebner. Yeah. So, long time referees, like I said, Dave Hebner might be the most famous referee in WWE history, besides probably Tim White. Um, just so many big matches. You knew it was a big match when you saw Dave Hebner in the ring, um, especially during the Attitude Era, all those Stone Cold matches, Rock matches. So yeah, and then as a kid, just the two referees and the being identical twins and the way they played it up with the $1 Million Man paying to have it done and all that type of stuff, man, it was just perfect.
Yeah, I mean that. Um, other than Dangerous Danny Davis, you really didn't pay attention to the referees back then. I mean, you knew them by name because the commentators would mention them, but crooked referees become memorable because it's very rare. And in this case, it wasn't even a crooked ref; it was, of course, tampering with referees, but finding out that they were twins and everything. It was the original Twin Magic. That was crazy, and they could both continue to have stellar, reputable careers, both in the WWF and then, of course, Earl going over to TNA. One thing notable about Earl Hebner was trained by Tommy Young, another great referee, all time great. Uh,
Right.
and of course, that with Dave Hebner, I did they take a lot of ref bumps too? I feel like there should be a tally of that too, because every time I see a ref, I'm like, oh, is this guy going to get knocked out or what? But it was with the Hebners, they fought back. They would always be like, don't you touch me out, and they shake their fist or something. So you grab them by the shirt or something, some refs will just like, oh, don't leave me alone. I'm sorry. And other refs will be like, you're not doing that to me. I'll punch you in the face. You get back to wrestling. This guy here. It's like referees that don't take no guff, and both of them are those old school types that don't really. They'll just they'll try to have the match called clean. That screw job thing, though, I mean, you could tell Earl Hebner was visibly hurt, having to basically just ring the damn bell. It's not. He was part of that, but it was like if Vince was yelling, "Ring the damn bell." So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
You could easily blame the timekeeper for that, than more so than Earl Hebner. But he was just caught in the middle of all that, and he visibly, really felt bad about the whole thing. I think that's something that's going to follow him for the rest of his life. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
no doubt.
yeah. Huge Hall of Famers there.
Yes. So that's the 2017 Wrasslecast Hall of Fame. So great class, great class. Some real legends, some pioneers. Like I said, it was real interesting to just kind of run through and go back and look at some of the matches and the feuds, and remember like Val Venus, especially. Like I remember Val Venus, but then you start remembering some of the matches and the promos, and it's like, wow, yeah, he really was a major player. And seeing how Mr. Fuji, like I said, had such a long career and won so many title belts, and what he had done for 20 years before I even saw him, and then I got to see him for 20 years. So
that's for sure. And one thing we'll do on our official page, wrasslecast.tumblr.com, is we'll feature maybe probably video clips of highlights from some of our Hall of Famers throughout the weekend, throughout WrestleMania weekend. So in between NXT, you're doing Mania Cast with us. Silent moments where you're just waiting for the show to start, the pre-show, if you say no to pre-shows, or if you're saying no to Flow Rider, like I'm doing during that halftime show, and going to fix a drink. Why don't you put on one of these highlights? Go to WrestleCast.tumblr.com and check out the best of Ivory and Val Venus and Chief Wahoo McDaniel. We'll have that up so that you can relive some of the greatest moments from our WrestleCast Hall of Famers.
that's right. So at this point, we're going to wrap up the festivities with some shout outs. So Dee Dee, we'll let you go first.
Excuse me. I do
Shout out to
apologize.
Claritin. That's going to make you feel better in the next
Yes.
couple of days.
Shout out to these good
Yeah,
drugs.
take that Claritin D. You gotta take the D.
See, why does everything seem like a euphemism right now?
I didn't even think about it. I was just
Like, is it just me? Like, it could be me. Like, I'm willing to believe it's me, but it's like
yeah, it is after
really,
midnight, but yeah.
like, come on, after dark. Yeah. Shout out to Mel because Mel always gets shout out. Shout out to the chairman, Don, Sam, and Greg out there making that money, doing them triple shifts. That's all I got this week. I got nothing. Wait, no. Shout out to her name that I don't know, but the first person to text me or tweet me, I should say, the video of the Undertaker magic. I won't tell you all what the magic was because I believe in a kayfabe life.
Shout out to
But
her exposing the business.
well, I live a kayfabe life, so I won't tell you
Yes.
where to find it. But I saw it and I was like, oh, that's how that works. Thank you, boo. And I was just like, I love that you all know that I want to know. Like, I just love that you all accept that I am just that nosy that I need to know how it happened.
Shout out to Cold Stone Creamery, right?
Shout out to D Lovely 179. I found it. Yes. And shout out to Cold Stone Creamery with the bomb strawberry red velvet cake, the bomb Oreo ice cream, the slow ass workers, but that's okay. We not hating. We love you anyway. Um, Shout out to Old Lady Gang. What else we got? Shout out to my new work hours. Shout out to me having to be somewhere at 7 o'clock, aka in under 7 hours. So, yeah, all the shout outs.
Shout out to 5 Hour Energy. You got to take 2 of those in the morning.
Shit, I'm probably just hope for the best. Or hell, be late. I don't care. Shit, it's okay. But yeah, I'm done.
All right. We'll turn it over to the chairman of the board.
Shout out to you, Don, and to you, Dee, for of course doing this each and every weekend, week out. Um, Shout out to Sam for being good old JR. Shout out to good old JR. And in fact, I want to give a somber, you know, rest in peace to Jan Ross, JR's, Jen Ross's departed wife. She passed away this past week. And of course, he's been coping with that, dealing with that. He's been really public and vocal about losing the love of his life and what she's meant to him and meant to the wrestling business. She's been the spouse, been by his side through so much. We had Bell's palsy over the years, the good the ups and downs, getting fired, and then all the talent that JR is responsible for, meeting them or welcoming them to her home, cooking them, hot meals and speaking to their wives and everything, and always going with them everywhere to the Hall of Fame. She's been his rock, and now she's gone, and he's like, "What do I do?" Which is a feeling anyone that's got someone significant to them never wants to feel. So I mean, we all feel for you, Jr. We're in your corner, and so we're thinking about you. And I think he's down in Orlando because he's like, "Why should I stay home?" And she'd want me to be down there, and I'm like, "Yo, you do what you got to do." And to the internet community, internet wrestlers, don't read the comments. People tell me that, and I don't listen. And I was reading on the message, I was reading on the boards about the news, and then you read the comments. All those fools that are like, well, she should know better, wear a helmet, and that's why she died. And maybe next time, I'm like, she's dead. There's no next time. And yeah, it's been acknowledged she didn't wear a helmet, and this is not the time for you to come up and like be right, asshole. So to all you assholes out there, big shout out and a big finger to you, and also shout out to Rebel Life Media, our friends over there. They've got a new video. Adina Howard's got a new video on Amazon Video, so check them out. Go download that, give that some looks. I think it's absolutely free if you're an Amazon Prime member, if you have access to Amazon Video. And shout out to our friend Mikey Osmond, the old man. He continually tweets us. Check out his message board. If you follow us, just go to @Mikey Osmond and check him out on Twitter. And he's got a great wrestling message board with his Hall of Fame picks as well. And finally, shout out to our newest member in Cats of Strong Style, Miss JP. K Moto or Miss Moto. She and Don De Laurenti have got a great show about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I've listened to all of their episodes because it's my network. I have to, but also because I get to enjoy hearing them talk about New Japan. It makes me want to actually watch more New Japan. The knowledge between the two of them. I know Don knows about wrestling. He knows about everything. But Miss Moto has impressed me so much with her knowledge. We're glad to have her in the CSPN family. We're making stars here, folks. So you got to get with the winning team, be a greater and not a hater. And for all those that are enjoying WrestleMania, fuck Flo Rida and Pitbull. And I hope you enjoy it with us as a family. Join us with the Mania Cast. That's all I got.
All right. I'd like to thank Dee Dee. I'd like to thank Classic for joining me here tonight. Of course, I'd like to give a shout out to Sam and our other member, our often working member who can't join us but has never forgotten here on the Wrasslecast, Mr. Magnum Prime Greg. I'd like to give a shout out to the Decepticomics out on their world tour, doing big things. So if they're in a city near you, within an hour or two, make the drive, come see them. Tickets are a great price. Just not gonna break your bank to come see some guys, provide you with some big laughs. So I've got my tickets. So everybody who's coming to the show in Chapel Hill on the 11th, I'll see you there. Again, this weekend is the biggest weekend in wrestling, so that means it's the biggest weekend for the Wrasslecast and live tweets. So on Friday, if you're watching the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, use the hashtag HOFcast, stands for Hall of Fame Cast. For Saturday night, Takeover Orlando, hashtag Cast Takeover. And then on Sunday for the main event, ManiaCast. So, share, click, and be a part of the conversation. Come share your commentary with color and get down with us this WrestleMania weekend. Share it with all your friends and all your casual wrestling fans who come by for one day a year. This is usually their day. So, we'll like to see all the thoughts and all the traffic, and everybody who's listening to Cast Strong Style would greatly appreciate it. Classic, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it. And something that I really like to talk about, but we don't quite have enough time here on the Wrasslecast every week to get deep into it. So, like I said, Mel, executive producer, doing big things. Siege, haven't forgotten you. Need you to record a Otoy drop for everybody to use on the network. Classic, you got to get on that.
Be safe, anybody in Atlanta. They like knocking out pieces of the highway and stuff. Just be careful out there. If you driving on the 85, I mean, you probably got to find an alternate route for work tomorrow. But just, call out or something, because pieces of the street are falling out. It's crazy. And two last shout outs I forgot. Shout out to Naomi's moms. If you check the tweets, Black does not crack. You know where she got it from. She got it from the mom.
Cheaper the julep. Throw the flag on them. Throw a flag on them.
And what was the other shout out? I totally forgot. Anyway, but yeah, definitely shout out to all of y'all that are listening and supporting the Wrasslecast. We appreciate y'all. Continue to tell a friend. Continue to hit up the hashtags because we appreciate that. And and shout out to the Impact Zone in their 300-person arena, according to at DD Janae on Twitter. She told me about that.
I mean, it might have been 530. Like, it wasn't a lot of people.
It was 5.
Like, I've certainly heard louder at like a high school auditorium.
Yeah, I'm sure there were more people when the Hardys were there, but they watched that, supremely. So,
all right. So for episode 127, and my SmackDown correspondent, Didi Jonay, and for the chairman, Classic Material, I'm Don De Laurenti, and this has been the Wrasslecast, episode 127.
play that part in promo.